Welcome to our team meeting for December 17th. I'm really excited about tonight's call because this is a tough time of the year. And first of all, I'm just so proud of everyone for being on here and killing their journeys and killing their business right now when so many people are just doing nothing with their lives because it's December and it's almost Christmas. And that kind of really ties into what Kristi's going to talk about tonight, because I get so many challengers, and I've had so many coaches that will have something come up in their life, and instead of embracing it and sharing about it or trying to figure out how to work their fitness or their nutrition around it, they just stop everything altogether. They stop their workouts, they stop their nutrition, they stop their business because they're not being a product of the products. And I have just always been in awe at not only Kristi working through all of those things, but being very creative in how she changes how her business is geared. And I'm not gonna go into all of it, but just for an example, with her being postpartum and not being able to work out yet, she did a 2B mindset group and really dug into that and embraced that. So she's going to share all about that, but I just wanted to thank you guys for being on. I am going to give her the floor, and then if there are any questions at the end, I'm sure she would be more than happy to answer them. So I am going to mute me and unmute her.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Kristi Jaros, like Kristen just mentioned, and I'm going to share with you all tonight about how I have worked my business through all of life's things. So I'm going to give you a little backstory for those of you that don't know me. 2016, 2017 was a very hard year of our lives. At the beginning of that year, my son, he was 2 years old. He had a really bad respiratory virus, and it caused him to have a seizure. He was in the hospital for 5 days, and it was the most terrifying thing that I've ever gone through. And then that same year, my dad had passed away. He had a heart attack. My 4-year-old nephew, he was diagnosed with leukemia at the beginning of the year, and he passed away. And then through all of that, we had experienced 4 miscarriages. So you can imagine where I was at. I was a mess mentally. I wasn't taking care of myself. And then in 2017, I had seen Kristen posting. I don't even know how I started following her. Just she popped up in my news feed one day, and I started liking her post, and I had seen just how happy she was and how, she was posting these recipes, and I knew that that was something that I needed in my life. And so I messaged her, we talked, and I decided to sign up as a discount coach because I really needed to focus on working on myself, and because I wanted a discount because I love a good deal. So then I just jumped into that accountability group, and I fell in love with the workouts. I fell in love with the community, with the results that I was getting, and I knew that I needed to share it. So for me, one day I was running in our neighborhood, and I know Kristen has shared before how her aha moments come to her in the shower. Well, my aha moments come to me when I am dying in a long run, or I'm dying in my workout, and I'm pushing. And so we have this huge hill in our neighborhood, and I was running down it. I was feeling great. There's a waterfall and trees, and it was awesome. I turned around to go up the hill, and I was struggling. And out of nowhere, I just had this feeling that I needed to share my story. Not just my sweaty selfies, not just my shakes, not that I was reading personal development, but my whole story. And for me, I instantly felt like I was going to puke. And I'm trying to run up this hill. I'm like, no, I don't want to share all those things. That's scary. But it just kept coming to me. It was like a God wink, an aha moment. And it was like, no, share all of your story. So, Kristen has said before, if you feel like you're going to puke about a post, you need to post it. And so as soon as I got home, I took my sweaty selfie, I made my post, and I put posts, and I put my phone down, and then I checked it 20 times within 2 minutes to see if people responded. And all of the responses that I got were beautiful. that fear just went away because people were able to connect with me, and they were able to say, you know what, I've had a miscarriage too, and I haven't really talked about it. Or, you know, my dad passed away 3 years ago. Like, thank you for sharing that, because it made me connect with you even more. And so at that moment, I know all of you guys are Rachel Hollis fans and how she talks about the Me Too movement. And I felt that. I felt that there were people that were connecting to me, and they were able to say, like, me too, like, I get it, I've been there. And so that was the point in my business where I decided that I was going to share whatever life threw at me. I was going to use that to connect with people, to be able to help others so they can relate to me, and to help with growing my business, and not just like sharing everything that goes on, like drama and stuff like that, but those things that you can really connect with other people and that somebody else may need to connect with. And so that was a moment where I decided I was going to start sharing those things. So we started going to a fertility doctor and an acupuncturist, and I was told low impact workouts, 30 minutes only. And for me, I had just finished Shift Shop. I was in the best shape of my life. To hear, like, you can only do low impact for 30 minutes to this high intensity junkie, I was like, no, like, that's not fair. I don't want to do that. But I sat back and I said, you know what, where my goal is, I need to embrace this. And so that's when I started doing PIO. And it's not a program that I would naturally pick because I like the high intensity, but being able to do that, which I got amazing results. My shoulders were like awesome after it, but I embraced it and I shared that. And so I was able to show others that low impact option and be able to walk people through that where I normally wouldn't have gone for PIO. So then we got pregnant in February, yay. And I was told that I couldn't do high intensity workouts. I could, but I just had to make sure that my heart rate was 130 or below. And so, you know, I had to start modifying early on, and I felt great. So it was hard for me to do that, but I knew that, you know, I needed to listen to the doctors. And so I shared that. I shared that, you know, like, you're not going to see me jumping around like crazy because I have to follow the doctor. And I walked people through my journey, and I was able to connect with them. As I got further along into my pregnancy, you know, I modified workouts. And so that's when Lift 4 was released. And instead of saying like, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm not going to be able to do it full out, I embraced the fact that I was going to have to do the modifications. And so my husband and I did Lift 4 side by side. I was able to complete the whole program pregnant, but I was doing the modifications. And so again, I was able to show those people jumping in that may not be in the best shape of their life, who are starting from, you know, the beginning, that, hey, you can do modifications with this as well. And I embraced that, where before, you know, I would kind of get frustrated if I had to do the modifications because I was in the best shape of my life, but I just embraced it. And so towards the end of my pregnancy, you know, I was able to talk about, you know, nutrition and, you know, different stuff like that. And also the prenatal programs, I was able to show that side of it. And that opened up, just being able to share my pregnancy journey completely opened up to a new market. I've had, you know, women that have messaged me who, you know, were pregnant or planning on getting pregnant or whatnot. And, you know, who I'm able to help now after they have their baby or while they're, you know, pregnant with their baby. And so just embracing that whole thing, it helped me to stay accountable, but it also helped me to connect with other people. And then here I am now, 4.5 weeks postnatal. It's killing me not being able to do Transform 20 with you guys with the pre-workouts or the release workouts and everything. But, you know, I'm taking advantage of 2B mindset, like Kristen said. And that's something that I didn't focus on before. I use the containers, but, you know, like she said, I've been doing a group with the 2B mindset. I've been posting a lot more recipes, a lot more about nutrition than what I would before, just to be able to open up to that market as well. And So it's been cool for me to be able to showcase all of what Beachbody has to offer through where I'm at in life. And instead of using it as, a negative thing that I'm not able to do those high intensity workouts, I've just embraced it. And trust me, my journey has not looked perfect. I mean, there are days where, I struggle with things, but I really have tried to just kind of go with the flow with it. And in the beginning, when I said that, I wanted to share all of my journey with everybody, that's been part of it for me. So, with me, our life events were pretty big, having a baby, all of that, working through that. But, everyday life things can be a challenge for your business as well. Like if you're tired, drink your Energize and do your workout and you're going to have more energy, and share that with people. Don't use that necessarily as an excuse not to get it done. If you're feeling sluggish because you're eating Christmas cookies and you just don't feel great, share that. Say like, hey, I've been eating Christmas cookies and I'm feeling a little sluggish, but this is what I'm going to do. Like use that and gear it in a positive direction and share that, because that's what people struggle with and that's what people need to hear, and it will help them relate to you if you're real and if you're authentic and all that. So a few tips that have helped me along the way when life has happened is I have my non-negotiables. So the vitals. So I drink my shake. I do my workout. I make sure that, especially if I'm struggling, that I'm doing my personal development, because it always helps me to, come back to where I need to be. I try so hard to read books and I just fail. And so podcasts are my jam. I listen to them in the car, when I'm doing laundry, when I'm cooking, like all of that kind of stuff. And then, doing invites and follow-ups. There are some days where my goal is to invite 25 people, and I may not reach that goal, but I try my hardest, and that's a non-negotiable. I need to make sure that I'm having those connections, especially if I want to grow my business and keep growing it. So the second thing is that I know and that I'm connected to my why. It's so easy to go through the motions of your day-to-day activities that you forget, you lose sight of why you're doing this. And when you do that, I know I struggle, that I get overwhelmed or I get frustrated or, whatnot. So really understanding your why is a huge part of it. And your why can change too. Like for me, my goal was to be healthy and to have our baby. And now that our rainbow baby is here, my goal is to focus on my business and to grow my business. My husband is wanting to start his own company. And so for me, being able to bring in that extra income is going to be huge. And so that has been my why and really helped me move forward. A third thing is to lean in to your coaching family. There's so many times where I've been overwhelmed and part of me wants to be like, can't do this, too much, like I'm done, game over. But I've reached out to my coaching family. I've reached out to Kristen so many times and been like, listen, I'm struggling. Like, am I doing okay? Like, I feel overwhelmed? Like, can you tell that? Like, what can you help me with? And she's been able to give me that pep talk. And sometimes all I needed was a pep talk of her saying like, you're doing good. Like, it's okay. Like, I know you feel overwhelmed. But just hearing that from somebody, you can talk to your friends, you can talk to your husbands or whoever, but being able to talk to your fellow coaches who actually get it, it's a game changer. And then, just keep swimming. Like life is going to have its ups and downs and it's never going to be perfect. And so there are so many times where I tell myself like, Kristi, it's going to be okay. Like this is today, tomorrow may be different. Like just keep swimming. And reminding myself that there's seasons. There's a season where you may be, rocking it. And then you may be in a season where you're struggling a little bit. But the key is to just keep going and to never give up and to keep moving forward, even if it's just a little baby step. As long as you are continuing to move forward and focusing on your business and focusing on growing in that sense, that's what matters. So there it is. Thank you guys. And if you have any questions, I'm an open book.
Kristi, I know Jordan asked a question in the chat. She said, are you running a normal challenge group as well, or is everyone doing 2B with you right now?
So it's combined. I always like to do my groups combined, just because there's some people that will want to do their own thing but still be part of the group, and then some people that are focusing on mindset. So our whole challenge group is focusing on the 2B mindset, but not everybody is doing it. Like, we've incorporated the containers as well. I'm running it with Megan. She's in my challenge group, and so she's kind of focusing more on the containers and how she's incorporating that, and then I'm focusing more on the 2B mindset. So everybody's doing their own workouts and everything, but overall it's nutrition focused for the most part.
So just what made you kind of click, thought of the process of like deciding to do 2B mindset right now instead of like not doing anything, or, just following the containers, or like, what was that kind of thought process like?
For me, my first focus is always my journey. And so I wouldn't feel right just sitting back and not doing anything, because that is my priority. And so for me, the best thing to do was 2B mindset. And so by me doing that and taking care of myself, I'm able to share that with others. It's just like, your cup and everything. Like, you have to fill yourself up before you can share it with others. Like, that's what I needed for my personal journey. And so that's how I decided to do that, because I knew that, if I was taking care of myself, I'd be able to share that with others. And
So what I have loved watching is, I just think, and I feel like this is so hard for me to tell coaches, because I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm like playing down what's going on in their life. But like, my first thought is always like, share that, like, and I want to say that, but sometimes it's so hard to be like, because I don't want anybody to ever think that I'm like just thinking business, but it truly is like, I can't, just being able to watch you go through Lift 4, it helped me be able to help potential people, because I was saying like, I've got a mama who's 7 months pregnant kicking butt with this program. Like, you can do this program. And you got killer results while modifying the entire program, which was just like mind blowing. But I just think it's so, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but just every obstacle we go through, I know it's scary and you have that like puke moment, but sharing it is just so important, because you're going to have somebody else who's going to relate to it. And even like with me not being able to work out after surgery, that killed me, killed me. But I was like, you know what? This is such an like awesome opportunity to show people, like me doing the modifier and Travis going full out, and like showing them that I just worked up a sweat completely modifying. So it really just is all about mindset. Okay, I'm going to quit talking. Jordan asked, what are some of your favorite PD books you've been listening to, or podcasts? I know you've listened to The Life Coach. Anything else you'd recommend?
Life Coach is my favorite. Of course, the Rides podcast, Rachel Hollis. I really like hers. The Shalene Show. Have you listened to that? Like any of her podcasts? I do like that one. There's this Shalene Show, and then she has another one. I have to look it up on my phone because I don't know the name of it. But it's Build Your Tribe. It's a really good one for a coaching perspective. And then like Super Soul Conversations, Oprah's Super Soul Conversations. Or I'm giving you a lot here. Oprah's Masterclass. Have you heard of that one? It's a lot of like, there's like Tim McGraw, Cindy Crawford, like famous people, and how they work through obstacles in their life to get where they're at. And then let me look at my shelf over here. Of course, Girl Wash Your Face. What? I'm brain dead now. I can't think of the one that I was thinking of. Carry On Warrior. Have you ever read that one? Like, oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I would recommend that. Carry On Warrior. It's really good.
Joni asked, do you struggle with how much of your personal life to share? Sometimes I catch a lot of grief from family members sharing our personal struggles and life events on a public site. This has prevented me from posting a lot lately, and I have something to add, but you can go first.
Mm-hmm. In the beginning it did, but like I had said with the Me Too movement, I think that there's something really special about allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And if it could help somebody else work through something that they're going through, I think that it's worth sharing. And for me, when I started, I know I struggled with social media. I'm such a private person, or I was such a private person before. And I really struggled with that. But if I was going to coach and I was going to put it out there, I wanted people to see my life and who I was, and not just this highlight reel. You know how you go through Facebook and you see all these happy people and all these positive things and all of that. And I wanted people to be able to connect with me and see that I have life struggles, that I go through things. And I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of with the struggles that you're going through and stuff like that. If you can relate with somebody. I mean, obviously don't post drama and, things like that that's personal. But if it's something that somebody can relate to and that somebody, can benefit from or feel connected with you, or that you could even help them go through it, I think there's something powerful in that. And being able to use, this may be your pedestal to help somebody else, where they're looking at it in a different sense, where, you could use social media to help somebody go through something.
So what I'm going to add to that, one of my Shred Nation friends, sister, Becky Boland, I've talked with her a lot because her brother is a drug addict, and she has struggled with sharing all the chaos that was supposed to be chaos and crazy crap coming. Chaos, that's kind of good. We might need to use that. Chaos and crazy crap in her life, because she can't share publicly about that, because it's his story and all that stuff, but it affects her in so many ways. And she, if you follow her on Instagram, she's foodie turned fit. She's one of the sweetest people ever. And she's just really good at sharing about how she's going through things without stepping on anyone's toes with sharing their business, because it still affects us, those things, and sharing that part of it versus sharing all the details of what you're going through. You know what I mean? And I think you can do that in a roundabout way. And then I also just think some people are going to have families that don't get it and don't understand why we do this. When I posted that I was doing the ovulation kits, my mom texted me and she was like, so I guess I'm going to find out you're pregnant on social media too. And they just, they're just going to have those things to say, I think sometimes. And it pissed me off for half a second. And I was like, you know what? I have nothing to apologize for. Clear, our relationship, us not being as, close enough for us to have those daily conversations is not my fault. But I just think you kind of choose your battles. But I do think if you're wanting to share, that sharing as much as you're comfortable with and kind of doing it from how it's affecting you versus maybe all the specific details. And I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but Becky does a really good job at that, just for someone to look at her social media and stuff. Any other questions? And I'm not gonna lie, every time, just for me personally, posting infertility stuff has been so hard for me, because I'm constantly well, there's somebody who's had miscarriages, and there's somebody who's been dealing with this longer than me. And I'm always I have that little girl in the back of my head that's saying someone's going to judge you or say well, you haven't even been dealing it with this long. You don't deserve to, I just have that mean girl in my head that's telling me not to post, not to post, not to post. And I have to overcome that feeling of wanting to throw up every single time I share something about it. And I honestly should probably be sharing more, but I have such a issue trying to overcome sharing that. but I cannot tell you the amount of messages in my inbox literally every time I post anything. And some of it's great advice, like, too. So that's really helpful. And then some of it is just like people connecting with you and thanking you for sharing it and saying, like, nobody talks about this. It is like so amazing that you're sharing this publicly because it's something that so many people go through. So I think you just kind of always have to think about that. Just like sharing a before and after picture for the first time makes you want to throw up, like putting yourself out there. And I just kept always telling myself, just like Kristi said, if one person can look at this and be motivated to know that they can do it too, that it will make it worth it. And you kind of just have to do it and like walk away and then just not look for a little bit, like rip off that Band-Aid. Any other questions or anything like that? Well, thank you so much, Kristi. I always get super motivated by you. If you guys don't follow Kristi, follow her because she's just so positive. But I love, she does such a good job at sharing mom life and sharing things that make her so relatable. And I just think she has nailed, you know, going through this whole process of creating her journey based on where she is in her life. Oh, I did have one other question for you, Kristi. Sorry. Wasn't there a point when you were seeing the like nutritionist doctor that you weren't allowed to drink Shaco for a little bit because of the protein in it, or no?
Yes. Well, it was because of my pH level.
Yeah.
So yes. So there was a point in the beginning where my pH level was very acidic, and too much protein can cause your pH to be acidic. And so she had me only drink well, I was drinking the vegan anyway. I couldn't have protein with dinner. That's what it was. So she had me drink the vegan Shakeology with dinner or for dinner. And I couldn't have protein in the evening. And so I did talk about that.
Gotcha. Okay. And she wasn't really allowed to have much Energize because her nutritionist took her off of caffeine almost completely. And then she comes to my house and I'm like, so I'm doing like 3 scoops today. Do you want a little bit? And I'm really not into it, but
it's terrible. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again so much. And if anybody has any questions, you guys, I'm speaking for her, but you can always message her because she is great at just talking to and kind of talking through things. And you can always message me. But I hope you guys all have a fantastic night. Thank you guys for taking the time to be on tonight. And thank you again, Kristi.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.